For most students, heading off to university is an exciting time. The newfound independence and freedom, meeting different people, and of course the active social life. But for Carl O'Reilly from Oldcastle in County Meath, this wasn't the case. Now at 32 years of age, he remembers how difficult he found it and how there were signs of depression well before he started third level education.
Well, I suppose I was a happy enough kid until maybe around 10 or 11, that kind of things just started. I don't know, I just started feeling a little bit weird, or a little that other people were a little bit better than me. But it wasn't a whole lot. Then I came to secondary school and it just started feeling worse. But I kind of just attached that was school, that was it. So I kind of thought I was just weird. Once I get out of school, I'll be okay. But I kind of just started going back into myself and avoiding going places, like avoiding going out and things like that. Then I came to UCD when I was 18 and I just crashed completely. I just felt so miserable. Where I was studying, I just assumed everybody was way better than me. And when I'd be doing anything, I just thought people would be looking at me thinking, why is he here wasting our time? I kind of felt really a burden on people, more so than anything. It was horrible. I kind of just started, and when you feel like that, you just start avoiding people. So I kind of just went back into myself, go out if I had to come out. And if I was talking to somebody in my head, I'd be thinking, how do I get out of here?
So for you, when was your rock bottom point where you thought, God, I really need help?
I think at my worst, when I was around 21, 22, I remember, I think I went around 6 weeks. I was living with a few people and I don't think I spoke to them. I'd be monitoring every little thing. I'd be in my bedroom, I'd know the door would open once and close, that'd be one gone. Do it again, that'd be two gone. Then the third person would go. I could finally come down and maybe turn on the TV or do something.
When did you feel that you started feeling better, or you were seeing the light, as it were?
It was, I can't remember a moment. I remember a year that I look back on and said, wow, that was brilliant. It was funny, like it wasn't a case that every aspect of my life changed. With work I was struggling massively and I just thought I wasn't good enough. But then with that my social life improved, my work improved. I'd say honestly within 6 months. See, with depression it kind of seemed to come from nowhere. It was this dark cloud that just comes and just sucks the colour out of your life. Everything just fades. Kind of just things seem worthless. And where that comes from, I didn't know. So even though I knew these things, I couldn't, again with depression I suppose, so when I'd say, okay, I'm going to do this and get better, I'd have this inner voice telling me, what's the point? So I kind of reached a stage where I just gave up dreaming, I gave up hoping for anything. I wasn't living, I was surviving. But then, of all the things I read, there was one book by a guy called Richard Carlson. It's called Stop Thinking, Start Living. And he had just one, I can't remember anything else from the book, I just remember this one paragraph where he was talking about snowing outside. And he said, snowing outside, one person will get up, look out the snow and think, brilliant, I'm going to go out, make snowmen, throw snowballs, this is going to be fantastic, best day ever. Another person's going to get up, look at that snow and go, oh jeez, I have to go out in this, my feet are going to get soaked, my car probably won't start, it's going to be terrible. What both people do is, the man is blaming the snow for feeling bad, the other fella is looking at the snow and that's the reason for his happiness. But the snow is just the snow, it's the same for everybody, it's just neutral, it's the thoughts that people put with it. And that was the first time that I realised that bad feelings, they started with a thought. So I kind of felt finally I'm in control of something. Obviously changing my thoughts to more positive was going to be a struggle. It took a lot of work, a lot of time, but finally, previous to that I think I was going to people and hoping they'd cure me. While now I realise there's loads of people out there who can help us, but you need to help yourself. You're in control of it and engage as many people as you can to help you, but you're in control. And that was kind of, from that day on, things had to change.
So how does Carl keep the positive thoughts flowing?
And it's something I do. I kind of get up in the morning and just start saying, okay, I'm so happy and grateful that, and I'd say, I'm so happy and grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm so happy and grateful that I have a loving family. I'm so happy and grateful that I can afford a cup of coffee. Simple things, you don't have to really feel it, but you just say that, and say that for around 2 minutes. I remember the first time I did it, I was saying it thinking, this isn't going to work. I remember I woke up feeling miserable, did this, and I remember just skipping down the road to get the bus, and it was unbelievable. It's just kind of, you are grateful, and this kind of feeling of gratitude, you just feel better.
And Carl has this advice for anyone who might be feeling down.
My advice would be talk to somebody. I think there's loads of help around. People are happy to listen, you're not a burden, and even talk to friends. Just say who you are. Don't start going into yourself and thinking you have to deal with yourself. I think engage as many people to help as you can. I was saying, like, if you break a leg or something like that, you'll go to hospital to have it fixed. Even if you just want to get fit, you'll hire a fitness coach to help you. So I think with your mind, go. See, there's loads of people to help, so there's no point in sitting there waiting for something to happen. Just go and talk.
And that was Carl Riley speaking to our reporter Aisling Reardon. I'm joined now by Claire Hayes, Clinical Director with Aware. Claire, listening to Carl, I mean, it's incredible the way he's coping with depression. Is that normal that people usually can get over it like that?
It is incredible how he's coping, and it's certainly what we would like to see becoming the norm. Carl presented a very, very simple model. He talked about how he was feeling. He illustrated very well different thoughts that he had in his head around, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. And then he focused very much on action. He spoke about how he challenged his thoughts, how he focused on what he's grateful for, what he's appreciative of, and how even though he was feeling miserable when he got up in the morning, once he did something helpful, he actually began to feel better.
So we got it under control for himself.
Got it under control, absolutely.
And can I ask you, for people watching, you know, I mean, a lot of people are going through very hard times in the country at the moment, and there are a lot of people, I'm sure, who do wake up feeling a bit down.
Yes.
When do you need to get help? How can you identify when you need help to deal with what you're feeling?
First of all, I think it's important for people not to panic. And there are certain times in all our lives where it makes sense that we're not feeling great. It makes sense that we're not on top of the world, we're not happy. If there are particular stressors, and they can be very tiny if there's a build-up of them. So how we know when we're in trouble or we need to get extra help or support is if those experiences are very intense, they last for a long period of time, and they come very often. So 3 keywords: intensity, frequency and duration. So keeping an eye out for that. Another key point would be how people are feeling relative to everybody else. So for instance, if there's a young person doing the Leaving Cert and they're feeling really worried and concerned and in bad form, the chances are they're not the only one in the class. But if it's something on a Friday evening, everybody else is in really, really good form and they're consistently feeling low, well then it's important for them
and maybe
to
you
get
should
help.
intervene or look for some help.
Yes, absolutely. We would say usually if people have symptoms within 2 weeks, certainly for young people, to talk to somebody.
Quickly. That's interesting.
Yes.
And I suppose a key message out of that is there is a lot you can do yourself to deal with your mental health.
Yes, absolutely. And if I can mention, Aware has 2 programmes that are very much focused on helping people with cope with their mental health. And one is Beat the Blues. It's a programme that has gone into over 20,000 secondary school students in September.
Okay.
It's using very much the techniques that Carl mentioned there. We use a coping triangle based on cognitive behavioural therapy, helping people acknowledge how they're feeling, look at what they're thinking, and most particularly look at what they're doing.
Okay.
And then there's an adult programme, Life Skills, Living Life to the Full, again based on cognitive behavioural therapy. Both of those are free, and thanks to Tesco and the support of the people in Tesco.
Great. Listen,
Yes.
I'm going to have to wrap you there.
There's no problem
Claire,
at all.
thank you very much indeed for coming into studio. And if you have been affected by anything that we've been discussing in the past few minutes, there are helplines available. The Samaritans are on 1850 60 90 90, and Aware is on 1890 30 33 02.